straightforward to upgrade from SAFe 5.1 to 6. So it's pretty straightforward. So Harry will cover kind of what some of the key points, key changes are, all for the good. And good news is it's not too difficult to upgrade from 5.1 to 6 for most of the certifications don't even require a test. So with that, I will introduce my good friend, colleague, SAFe extraordinaire, Agile Ninja. Please welcome Harry Narang. Woohoo!
Thanks, Melissa. Hello, everybody. What is standard in SAFe, which I don't think would change anytime soon, it is that we have continuous focus on value streams. Right, so that focus has not changed since SAFe was created in 2011, and that would likely never change in SAFe. Does anybody remember how we define SAFe? Many of you have taken my classes when it comes to SAFe certification courses. I often say that SAFe is all about organizing our people in long-lived value streams that deliver value incrementally in alignment with business needs. That is going to continue to stay. SAFe has, in fact, increased its focus on value streams. SAFe has increased its guidance on value streams and how organizations can use value streams to deliver further value to their customers and also stay in sync with changes in market conditions. So those value streams are going to stay. Another standard for SAFe as an ongoing focus area is DevOps. And there has been more and more increased focus on DevOps as more and more organizations have looked to implement DevOps and become more proficient in DevOps as a competency. And what is DevOps simply about? It's about figuring out what is it that we need to do to take work from left to the right as fast and as seamlessly as possible. What is the left? It is an idea to do something, isn't it? That is how everything starts. And what is the right? It is a customer that's going to be consuming the work that comes out of that idea. Now, if we think about what happens as we take something from left to the right, we have to sometimes flush out requirements based on that idea. Somebody has to develop it. Somebody has to test it. And often this is a cyclic approach. We have to run the build. We have to, validate it in different ways. We have to run security validation. We have to run compliance validations. We have to run architecture validations. We push it into prod, and eventually we give it to a customer. Everybody with me on this? Left to the right, this is what happens. And DevOps is essentially about improving this flow from left to the right. And how do we improve this flow? By using advanced tools and infrastructure, things like automation, things like collaboration that would help us enhance this flow. So this has been a big focus area for SAFe for the last many, many years. And this time, SAFe has increased its focus on that flow of value. More guidance is now available on how organizations can harness the power of DevOps to deliver more predictable and streamlined value to its customers. Good so far with me? Again, these are themes that have been standards in SAFe always. And finally, the last one is customer centricity. And that is, of course, also never going to change. And SAFe, if anything, has further increased its focus on customer centricity. There is also intent to bring teams closer to the customer. there has been more specific guidance on bringing teams closer to the customer, because a common myth in the industry, or something that we would run into on and off, people would have this misconception is, and let me know if you've heard something like this, or maybe even just sense people having that misconception about SAFe, which is sometimes people think that SAFe is a top-down approach, where product managers gather the requirements, they give it to the product owner gets the team to execute it. Anybody heard people have that perception of SAFe? Yeah, Chetan, you have seen that. Lee, you too, right? And that has been a common myth that people have developed about SAFe. But now SAFe has provided more clear guidance on how teams need to be operating, which I'll walk you through very shortly. But I'll show you over here. So if we go to scaledagileFramework.com, you potentially, all of you have already seen this web page about SAFe body of work. And if I click on Agile Teams, you're going to notice that it is going to more specifically mention how these teams and what these responsibility areas for different teams are. And notice one of the responsibility areas that is now very specifically highlighted for Agile teams is connecting directly with the customer, which always was the case, but now it's been more specifically highlighted to address any misunderstandings about how Agile teams in SAFe operate. Everybody good with me so far? Yeah, Nancy, good to see you.
Yeah.
All right, so with this, so these are, ongoing standards in SAFe, continues to be a focus area in the form of customer centricity. So with this, let's dive into things that we would have as themes with regard to SAFe 6.0, certain things which were not as clearly called out earlier. Number one is increased focus on business agility. So now SAFe this time has introduced multiple different things around this. Now, what is business agility more specifically if we talk about it? Question: do we see any difference when we talk about Agile being implemented at the team level, which is, teams building things incrementally, doing demos, getting feedback all the way through the process? So Agile at the team level, and then end-to-end business agility. Do we see a difference?
Yep.
Yeah. So end-to-end business agility is a much bigger undertaking. Do you notice that? It encompasses things like strategic planning. It encompasses things like governance, budgeting, and so on, which is things that are not necessarily applicable to implementing Agile in a small Scrum team. Let me give you an example. Should Apple continue investing in the iPhone, or is it time for Apple to invest more money in the Apple Watch? Now, that's a business agility question. You with me? Right? Is it time for Apple to retire the iPad, or should they continue investing in the iPad? That's a business agility question. You with me? Right? Because the last thing that we want our teams to be doing is great job on the wrong product. Isn't it? So that guidance on business agility is more clear than ever before. And one of those things that we have added to the big picture, everybody seen this big picture of SAFe before? Right? Now here we got our SAFe big picture 6.0. And one of those things that you will notice over here is that at the portfolio level in SAFe, which is also called the LPM level in SAFe, there is this new icon and deep guidance on leveraging data, market research, market trends to inform portfolio level decision making, to answer the questions that I just gave you examples about. Because those are all very subjective decisions, and eventually it is those decisions that inform the success of a specific portfolio or a tech company. So there is more and more guidance available on how we should be making decisions on epics. How do we make those pivot versus persevere decisions? How do we identify new business hypotheses to invest in? How do we validate those hypotheses? How do we leverage data that's available to us within our company or external data to inform appropriate enterprise level decision making so that we can build products that eventually make an impact on our customers? There's also more guidance on the measure and grow over here, which means how we use OKRs, KPIs to, again, inform and accomplish this ultimate goal of business agility. So those things are new to SAFe 6.0. This big data icon has never existed in the SAFe body of work, but now it is a part of SAFe. And there's a lot of guidance available on this topic too, which is going to be weaved into our LPM courses. So one of the 13 courses in SAFe that many of you have taken with us is this 2-day course on LPM. And this course is now going to have further guidance that we in Skillbook would be even incorporating it into our process and how we run that class, which would be focused on big data and measure and grow perspectives and practices to inform our decision-making at the portfolio level. So that is our first main theme, increased focus on business agility. And this is where big data is going to come in and measure and grow is going to come in there as well. And if you click on the business agility icon on the SAFe big picture over here, you'll also notice that they also have, a detailed process on how we tap into new opportunities as a business. And this is not a new to SAFe 6. It was introduced in SAFe 5.1 as well, but now they have provided more clarification on how businesses can tap into new opportunities as they are identified in the marketplace. So that brings us to the end of theme 1. Are we good on theme 1? So that's the first thing. The second thing, thanks, Nathaniel. Second thing is language and role clarity. So SAFe has clarified certain things that would often cause confusion. So language is one of the bigger shifts that we're noticing in SAFe 6.0. Let me walk you through what some of those areas of language change are. Melissa, feel free to add something to it if I miss it. The first thing that you'll notice is Scrum Master is not just a Scrum Master. They could also be referred to as a team coach. The reason behind this is that SAFe Scrum Masters are encouraged to not just coach teams on Scrum. SAFe teams or SAFe Agile teams are not just focusing on Scrum. They're often also using many other practices, like Kanban. Everybody's heard of Kanban or used Kanban as a way to track work, build transparency, limit work in progress. They often use extreme programming practices, things like continuous integration, pair programming, test-driven development, behavior-driven development, right? Collective code ownership. And Scrum Masters in our Agile teams, when they work in a Scaled Agile context, are encouraged and taught on how to coach those practices so that our teams can build quality in. So that is the first area of focus. The second is, the word program, which was a big part of SAFe. Everybody remembers the use of the word program in SAFe? We would often use the word release train and program interchangeably. And this backlog would be called program backlog earlier. Remember this? And we would say program backlog funnels work into different team backlogs in PI planning. Now this backlog has been renamed to release train backlog. And the word program is almost completely eliminated from the SAFe body of work. You would barely find the word program anywhere in this big picture or in the SAFe body of work. So now it's themes, release trains, and solution trains. That's all it is. Another one over here, this is not as much of a language change, but increased focus on the trio. Now in SAFe 5.1, Melissa, can we paste a photo of 5.1 over here? Yeah, okay. So in SAFe 5.1, you might remember that this system architect would be called system architect / engineering, right? Which means we would say that, hey, system engineering people are also, clustered into this icon of system architect. But this time in SAFe 6.0, we have just created this trio, and there is more and more focus for this trio for a release train to work as a team that guides the release train to higher levels of value creation. So release train engineer, which is our facilitation lead, product management lead, and then the system architect. And that trio guides the entire release train towards business value creation. So that is a slight little change over there. Another change which is not highlighted on the big picture, but it is, if you dig in, you will see that in SAFe 5.0, and for people that have taken a LPM course, you would remember this, that there was an APMO group that we would often promote, which stands for Agile Program Management Office. And now that APMO group has been renamed to VMO, which is Value Management Office. So that Value Management Office is kind of like your PMO from your traditional era, but renamed to VMO, and they're focused on understanding what is value to our stakeholders, what is value to our business, so that we can increase our focus on it and invest in priorities and epics that would actually make sense from a business value creation standpoint. So release train to, or program to release train, is one of the main language changes. Anything else over here, Melissa, in terms of language?
I did put the helpful one-page guide to everything that changed, but the primary ones you hit on, I believe. Cool. Yeah, all of them actually. Good.
And role clarity. So in terms of the second theme, which I mentioned, role clarity. So if you click on any of those icons in SAFe 6.0, so if you go to Scaled Agile Framework, if you click on, for example, product owner, you will notice that all of these roles have gotten this responsibility wheel, so to speak, right? Click on any of these roles and you will see that responsibility wheel coming up, which therefore makes it much clearer on what these individuals are expected to do. As we work in a scaled agile context, often those responsibilities tend to become fuzzy and there is gray zone that starts to build in. And these responsibility wheels would further clarify that. So more and more clarity on roles has been provided as organizations look to mature their scaled agile practices. So that is our second theme. All set? Good, keep going. Yeah, okay. Third theme is focus on lean. Has anybody taken any kind of formal lean training before, like Lean Six Sigma, green belt, yellow belt, black belt? Anybody's taken that kind of training? Yeah, Chetan, you have, and Brian, you too? Yeah, okay. So many of us have taken lean training, and I'm sure we've heard of lean and seen lean being implemented in organizations. So focus of lean has always been to optimize value flow. Is that right? Value creation is what we want to focus on when it comes to implementing lean or becoming a leaner organization, which means looking for efficiencies, looking for removing blockers optimizing flow, as we often call it. So as we look at SAFe 6, you're going to notice a lot of focus on improving flow and becoming leaner in our organization. So look at this. Team flow icon has come up. Release train flow icon has come up. Portfolio flow icon has come up. Now, if I click on SAFe principles, you'll also notice that principle number 6 has been renamed. For people that have taken a leading SAFe class, you might remember principle 6 used to be a long principle. Remember that, Locke? So here it used to be visualize, limit WIP, reduce batch sizes, and manage queue length. Now that principle has been renamed to improve flow of value in the organization. If you click on that, you will notice, let's go to principle number 6. So if you click on that, we'll notice that there is now 8 flow indicators that SAFe has identified. 8 flow indicators. Here they are, and there's also detailed guidance on this. These flow indicators have become a part of our ongoing PDCA cycle at the team level and at the release train level, which means team coaches, our scrum masters, are encouraged to track flow using advanced guidance from SAFe on a sprint by sprint or iteration by iteration basis. So let me put it in there. So at the team level, in every iteration on a 2-week cadence, we are tracking flow of value through that ongoing guidance and much deeper guidance from SAFe. And when it comes to release trains, we're doing the same thing, but for our release trains, we're doing it at the PI cadence. So that cycle continues, and we're tracking flow, looking at how often are we getting blocked, what's the cycle time of our features, of our requirements, and looking to continuously trend those things in the right direction. So that is theme number 3. There's 2 more themes to go. With me so far? On PI cadence, flow tracking, and then iteration cadence flow tracking. Who's responsible for team level? It is our team coach. The person who's responsible for release train level is our release train engineer. Now, this reminds me, I also missed highlighting one important language change over here, which is our PI. Even though it's not highlighted over here, the word PI has been renamed as well. Anybody remembers what PI used to mean earlier in SAFe 5.1? PI, yellow, or Chetan, used to be?
Yeah, it should be program increment.
Used to be program increment, spot on. Now it's been renamed to planning interval. Planning interval. Why is that being done? Because that word program increment would often lead to misunderstanding on the purpose of it. People would often think the goal for that PI is to build that 10-week waterfall where we deliver value only end of that 10-week period, right? Because of the way it was worded as a program increment and you deliver value at the end. Planning interval has now clarified it, which we always used it as. It's simply a planning cadence. It's often we call that PI planning meeting, which you're all familiar with. We would often call it, it's simply a touch base event. That's all it is. The intent is to touch base with our entire value stream and align on our vision for upcoming work. So that planning interval is a slight tweak that we have made. In terms of the meaning of it, it was always the same. Theme 4 is SAFe across the business. And this is where, Melissa, do you want to highlight this? I think you edited this one.
I mean, I was just going based off, I wasn't trying to mess you up here, but are we on 4? Yeah, safe across the business. So this is just looking at, extending more into the business. And there was some guidance on that. If you've taken Leading Safe, we talk about the goal of extending into the business, agile finance, agile marketing, etc. So really focusing on that you don't have to be a technology team to have an agile release train, to have a team of teams. And SAFE's now created some additional articles and guidance titled Safe Beyond IT, and I can link it there. Because oftentimes a question that we get is, well, I'm not in IT. Can I use SAFE? Does SAFE apply to me? Historically, a lot of agile frameworks heavily focused on software development, getting into hardware. And so this is just guidance on how you can apply these principles and practices in HR, in finance, in marketing, across the entire business, and have those operations also be able to more effectively support your other agile release trains. So not much to that one.
Good stuff. So yes, so agile executive teams, we could have business-driven acts where business stakeholders and our tech teams are part of the same agile release train, especially when there is implementation work that is built into the same release train. For example, there's a team that's building functionality and there's a team that is helping implement functionality and building all of those groups into the same release train. And finally, the last theme is AI, big data, cloud, and that is built into our big picture now. And you might have seen this already. You got AI into our spanning palette, as we call this in SAFE. So here is AI, and the spanning palette is meant to represent topics that are going to span across different levels of SAFE. So AI icon has showed up, and even in our training courses, we are now incorporating perspectives and where AI can further help us enhance our flow of value and accomplish business agility. You'll also notice that a cloud icon has shown up over here, and cloud environments, cloud infrastructure is playing a significant role in organizations accomplishing business agility and delivering things incrementally just because of the flexibility that cloud offers, right? The elasticity that cloud offers. We could start small, we could scale it up larger, and we can test hypotheses along the way with minimal investment. So cloud infrastructure and using cloud to further enhance incremental development has become a part of our guidance in SAFE. And you've already seen big data being used at the portfolio level, especially to inform our product level, enterprise level, pivot versus persevere type strategic decisions. So that brings us to the end of our 5 main themes when it comes to SAFE 6.0. So as you would notice, there is definitely nuances that SAFE has added to its guidance on accomplishing business agility, but at the same time, the core of SAFE is the way it was, which is delivering value via ongoing, longer-lived value streams of people that deliver value incrementally in alignment with business needs. All set? Let's talk about our certification upgrade process. So I'm going to have requested a friend of mine to share their login details. So what we'll do is we would look at the community platform, which has now been renamed to SAFE Studio. So that is also new to how SAFE is engaging with its community of SAFE certified individuals. So once you would log into your community platform, it is going to look something like this. And all you have to do So we've seen that people are getting access to the SAFe 6.0 upgrade in two ways. Some people might see it on their homepage. So as you log in and you get to this homepage, you would potentially see you have this upgrade available, and you would have a go icon over here, and you click on it, it would take you to the upgrade page. Some people might also be able to see it in the My Learning tab. So how do you get to the My Learning tab? Click on those three dots on the top left. We go to Learn, and then you go to My Learning. And when you go to My Learning, go to your Not Started page. And once you go to your Not Started page, you would have SAFe 6.0 upgrade over here. Click on that, and then it would take you to a page that looks something like this. At the top of your page, it would say SAFe 6.0 upgrade. And below that, very similar user interface where you took the actual certification exam when you took the class, and then you go through these different things in sequence. You notice that some of these items, line items, have an asterisk beside them. So those are things that cannot be skipped when you're going through your upgrades. So you'd have, more deeper guidance on or information on what I walk you through. Over here, you would also have, some optional things. You would look at the implementation roadmap, measure and grow competency. And then once you get to the end, SAFe upgrade next steps, you would see that your certification, whatever number of certifications you have been upgraded to the latest version of SAFe. This time, SAFe has not incorporated a test in this process. In some of our previous upgrade versions, we used to have to take a test as well. Now the test is only applicable to trainers in SAFe. So as soon as you do this upgrade, your new upgrade kit would become available. Your certificates would also get updated to SAFe 6.0, and you would be able to post that on LinkedIn and stuff if that is what you would like to do. So pretty simple process when it comes to upgrading your certification. You have to go through that learning process, and once you've watched that entire thing, your certification would be upgraded to SAFe 6.0. All right, so happy upgrading, and you will get a new badge, and you'll also get a new certificate. And if you end up posting on LinkedIn, we would welcome you to tag Skillbook along as well, so that we can also celebrate the upgrade and SAFe 6.0 certification with you.